Eli had always loved the quiet routine of his life. The cafe was his sanctuary, a place where he could lose himself in the rhythm of grinding beans, steaming milk, and serving lattes to regulars who found comfort in his familiar smile. It was a small, tucked-away cafe, far from the chaos of the city's fast pace, and Eli was content with it. His life, just like his coffee, was predictable, uncomplicated. But all that changed one Wednesday morning when Noah walked in. He was different from the usual crowd. A sharp-dressed man, tired eyes hidden behind expensive frames, his presence almost commanding despite his quiet demeanor. Eli noticed him immediately, something about the way he carried himself, too poised, too refined for the laid-back ambience of the cafe. Noah ordered a coffee, and Eli made it with the usual precision. He tried to ignore the small part of him that wondered why this man was here, but the thoughts lingered. As Noah took his seat by the window, he glanced up at Eli. Their eyes met briefly, and Eli felt an odd spark of recognition, a strange connection that made him pause for a second longer than usual. It was silly. He'd served thousands of customers, but this one, there was something different. "Thanks," Noah said, breaking the silence, his voice smooth and warm. "You make a good cup of coffee." Eli smiled, unsure of what to say. "Just doing my job," he responded, shrugging slightly. Noah raised an eyebrow, his lips curling into a faint smile. "Job well done, then." It was a simple exchange, but for some reason, it lingered. Noah wasn't just another face, there was something magnetic about him that Eli couldn't shake. He was an enigma, distant yet strangely inviting. As the day passed, Eli couldn't help but keep an eye on him, noticing how Noah seemed so absorbed in his work on his laptop, yet every now and then, he'd glance up and their eyes would meet again. By the time Noah left, Eli was left with the oddest feeling, a sense of curiosity he didn't know he could feel for someone like him. Noah didn't even say goodbye, but that didn't matter. Something about him had felt different. 2 days later, Noah returned, and this time, Eli felt a small flutter of anticipation. The regulars were bustling around the cafe, chatting and sipping on their drinks, but Eli couldn't focus entirely. He kept stealing glances at the door, half expecting Noah to walk in again. When the bell above the door chimed and Noah stepped in, it was like everything else faded away. He smiled at Eli, a smile that was warmer this time, more knowing. "Hey, Eli," Noah said, his voice carrying just a hint of familiarity. "Hey," Eli replied, his own voice betraying a small crack of nervousness. "Back for more?" Noah chuckled. "I was thinking of switching it up today," he said, his tone lighter than before. "I've been coming here every morning for weeks, and I always get the same thing. Today, I thought I'd try something new." Eli blinked. "Well, we've got a gingerbread latte that's perfect for the season," he said without thinking. "It's sweet, a little spicy. You might like it." Noah raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "Gingerbread, huh?" "Sure, why not?" As Eli worked, the air between them felt different. He moved with a sense of ease, their casual banter flowing as if they had known each other much longer than just a few fleeting exchanges. Noah asked about Eli's life, about how he ended up working at the cafe, and for the first time in a long time, Eli found himself actually answering the questions, sharing bits of his life that he usually kept hidden behind the counter. There was no pretense, no need to impress. It felt comfortable. After a moment of silence, Noah spoke again, his voice quieter. "You seem like you have your life together. I don't know if I could ever do what you do, just step back and take things slow." Eli paused, the steam wand in his hand hissing. "It's not easy," he said, looking up at Noah. "It's a choice, really. I could work myself into the ground, but at some point, you've got to ask yourself what's worth the sacrifice." Noah was silent for a moment, mulling over the words. "I don't know if I have time for that kind of thinking. Work just takes over. It's hard to turn off." Eli felt a pang of understanding. He had met so many people like Noah, people who didn't know how to stop. They were always chasing something, never pausing to reflect on whether it was worth it. I get that, Eli said, his voice soft. But maybe you should try. Even if it's just for a moment. You can't pour from an empty cup. Noah nodded, his eyes thoughtful. Maybe. Maybe you're right. He paused and then gave a small smile. Maybe I'll try it this weekend. Take a break. Do something different. Eli raised an eyebrow. Really? And what would that, something different, be? Noah hesitated for a second, as if considering. Well, actually, would you be interested in hanging out? I don't know, just a casual meet-up. You seem like the type who knows how to actually relax. Eli blinked in surprise, unsure if he heard correctly. Was Noah asking him out? Sure, he said, trying to sound casual. What do you have in mind? A park, Noah replied, glancing around as if for inspiration. I've been wanting to visit the one on Fifth Avenue. It's peaceful, maybe we could just walk around and talk. Eli felt his heart skip, but he masked it with a shrug. I'm down for that. Noah smiled, his expression a little warmer now. Cool. I'll text you the details. How's Saturday? Saturday works, Eli said, his voice steadier than he felt. As Noah left the cafe, Eli stood there for a moment, stunned. The invitation had been simple, almost casual, but something about it made his stomach flutter. What did this mean? Was this just a friendly hangout, or was Noah actually interested in him? Later that evening, Eli sat on the couch of his small apartment, staring at the text from Noah confirming their plans for Saturday. A part of him was nervous, unsure of how to approach this new, uncharted territory. He didn't often let people into his world, didn't trust easily. But something about Noah felt different. As Saturday approached, Eli found himself both excited and apprehensive. He didn't know what would happen between them, but he couldn't deny the excitement building inside him. For the first time in a long time, he was looking forward to something outside the comfort of his cafe. Saturday arrived, and Eli found himself pacing around his apartment, trying to prepare for the meeting. It wasn't a date, he reminded himself, but it felt like one. He hadn't gone out with anyone in a long time, and the nerves were creeping up on him. He pulled on a simple t-shirt and jeans, something casual, but enough to show he cared. He wanted to make a good impression, though he wasn't sure what that meant yet. He arrived at the park a little early, unsure of where to go or what to do while he waited. The park was large, a quiet escape from the city's noise, with tall trees and wide pathways that seemed to invite introspection. Eli wandered slowly, his eyes scanning the space for Noah, who had yet to arrive. He found a bench under a large oak tree and sat down, letting the cool breeze wash over him. A few minutes later, he spotted Noah walking towards him, wearing a simple blue button-down shirt and jeans, nothing fancy, but it suited him. There was a kind of quiet confidence in his stride, and Eli couldn't help but smile at the sight. He stood up to greet him. Hey, Noah said, offering a slight smile. Hope I'm not too late. Eli shook his head. Nah, just got here. I've been pacing around, honestly. Noah chuckled, sitting beside him on the bench. The silence between them felt different now, comfortable, but with an undercurrent of anticipation. For a moment, they just watched the people around them, joggers, families, dog walkers, enjoying their Saturday afternoon. The sound of birds chirping and leaves rustling created a peaceful ambience, but Eli's mind was elsewhere, trying to figure out why it felt so natural to sit next to Noah. It was supposed to be casual, right? So, Noah started, breaking the silence. I've never really been the type to do this, just take time off, I mean. I work too much, and when I do get free time, I end up just wasting it. Eli turned toward him, his brow furrowed slightly. What do you mean by wasting it? Noah shifted uncomfortably, his gaze dropping to his hands. I don't know. I sit around, but my mind's still at the office. I'm always thinking about emails, meetings, deadlines. It's like I'm physically here, but my mind is elsewhere. Eli nodded, feeling a pang of sympathy. I get that. Sometimes I get caught up in thinking about all the things I could be doing instead of being present in the moment. It's hard to shut it off. Exactly, Noah said, his voice a little softer now. I think that's why I asked you to meet up. I thought, maybe I'd learn how to just be here. Without all the distractions. Eli glanced at him, noticing the vulnerability in his eyes that he hadn't expected. It was easy to see Noah as this confident, successful person, but now, sitting here with him, he realized there was more beneath the surface. He had his own battles, his own struggles with balance and self-doubt. I don't think anyone has it figured out, Eli said, his tone comforting. I mean, I may work at a cafe, but I still get caught in the trap of overthinking sometimes. It's all about learning to be kind to yourself, you know. Noah smiled, and for a moment, Eli felt a shift, a deeper connection, as though they weren't just two people meeting for a walk in the park. They were opening up in a way that felt surprisingly intimate, like their words mattered, like this time together was more than just a casual hangout. The conversation shifted to lighter topics. They talked about their favorite books, movies, and the music they liked. Noah shared stories about his childhood and growing up in a big city, and Eli laughed at how different their experiences had been. Eli, the quiet observer from a small town, and Noah, the ambitious city dweller with a fast-paced life. But somehow, it felt like they weren't as different as they thought. As they walked along the winding path, Eli began to feel more at ease. Noah's presence was calming, and with each shared laugh, the tension started to dissolve. They passed a small pond, the water sparkling in the afternoon light, and Noah suggested they sit by the edge. There, the conversation naturally slowed, and for the first time that day, they simply enjoyed the silence. Noah nodded, his gaze distant. Me too. It's weird. I don't know why I always put work ahead of everything else. It's like I think I'll fall behind if I don't keep pushing. But when I'm with you, I don't feel that way. I feel calm. The honesty in Noah's words took Eli by surprise. He wasn't used to someone opening up like this, and he wasn't sure how to respond. Instead, he simply offered a smile, hoping it conveyed the understanding he didn't have the words for. They sat in companionable silence for a while longer, watching the sunset paint the sky in shades of pink and gold. The peacefulness of the moment seemed to draw them closer, and for the first time since meeting Noah, Eli didn't feel the need to rush. There was no agenda here, no expectations, just a simple, shared experience. Eli watched the ripples in the water, feeling the weight of his own thoughts drift away. He hadn't realized until now how much he'd been longing for a connection like this, one that wasn't rushed, that didn't require performing for someone else. Just being. I'm glad you invited me out here, Eli said after a moment. I think I needed this more than I realized. As the evening began to cool, Noah stood up, brushing the dirt from his jeans. I should probably head back. I have some things to take care of, but I'm really glad we did this. Eli stood as well, his heart strangely light. Yeah, me too. It's nice to just be for once. Noah turned to him, a slight smile tugging at his lips. Maybe we can do it again sometime. Eli's chest tightened, the question lingering in the air between them. He wasn't sure what the future held, but in that moment, he felt something, a connection, fragile but real. Yeah, Eli said, his voice quiet but sure. I'd like that. As they walked out of the park together, side by side but not too close, Eli couldn't shake the feeling that something had shifted between them. There was a new understanding, a new thread of connection that tied them together in a way he hadn't anticipated. And as he looked at Noah, walking next to him, Eli felt something deep in his chest, a flicker of hope for what might come next. The days following their walk in the park seemed to pass in a blur for Eli. They continued to meet regularly, each encounter leaving him more confused and yet oddly certain about the bond he was beginning to share with Noah. It was a friendship, sure, but there was something more, something unspoken. Something Eli couldn't quite place. One evening, after another casual hangout at the park, Noah dropped him off at his apartment. The ride had been filled with easy conversation, but now, in the quiet of the car, an uncomfortable silence lingered. Noah cleared his throat. I was thinking about what you said the other day, about just being present. And I wanted to know if maybe you'd be open to trying something with me. His voice was hesitant, almost tentative. Eli looked at him, confused. What do you mean? Noah glanced out the window, then back at Eli. I'm not great at this, but I think I'm starting to feel something more than just friends. I don't want to assume anything, but I wanted to say it out loud before it got any harder to talk about. Eli's heart skipped a beat, and his breath caught in his throat. Was he, saying what he thought he was? Noah continued, sensing the hesitation in Eli. I know it's been really fast, and I don't want to rush things. But I can't ignore how much I enjoy our time together. You make me feel like I can just breathe, like the weight of everything else just melts away. And I think, maybe, we could explore that, if you want. Eli opened his mouth to respond but found his voice lost in the sudden swell of emotions that flooded him. He'd felt it too. The moments of quiet connection, the way his chest tightened when Noah smiled, the way his thoughts were drawn back to Noah, even when they weren't together. I feel the same way, Eli managed to say. His voice was quieter than he expected, his heart pounding in his chest. I've been thinking about you a lot. More than I probably should. I don't want to mess this up. Noah's eyes softened. You won't. This isn't about rushing. It's about letting things unfold. A weight seemed to lift from Eli's chest, but it was immediately replaced by a new wave of uncertainty. But, what does this mean? For us? Noah's lips quirked into a small smile. I think it means we take it slow. But we're honest with each other. No games, no pretenses. Eli nodded slowly, feeling a rush of relief wash over him. He wasn't sure what this would look like, or where it would go, but he was willing to try. Yeah. I can do that. I just want to be with you. Noah reached over, his hand brushing Eli's gently. Then let's see where this goes. Over the next few weeks, Eli and Noah's relationship transformed. They weren't rushing into anything, but the boundaries that had once separated them began to blur. They went on long walks, had dinners at local diners, and shared more about themselves than either had expected. They laughed together, supported each other through tough days, and began to learn each other's rhythms. Yet, as their bond deepened, so did the complexities of their relationship. Both Eli and Noah carried baggage, unspoken fears about opening up, doubts about their compatibility, and hesitations born from past hurts. There were times when they would stand on the precipice of something more and pull back, unsure if they were ready to cross that line. It was a Thursday evening when the moment came. Eli had invited Noah to a local cafe that had become their usual spot. They'd been talking about everything under the sun, work, their families, their childhoods, when Noah suddenly grew quiet. He stirred his coffee absently, avoiding Eli's gaze. Eli frowned, sensing the shift. What's going on? You've been distant lately. Noah shifted in his seat, his eyes meeting Eli's for a brief moment before looking down again. I don't know how to say this, but I think I'm scared. Scared of what this could be. Eli's heart clenched. Scared of what? Noah exhaled shakily. I've been hurt before, Eli. And I don't know how to let someone in without waiting for the other shoe to drop. I guess I've been holding back, trying not to get attached, even though I am attached. Eli reached across the table, his hand covering Noah's. Hey, I get it. I've been scared too. We're both taking a risk here. Noah squeezed his hand, and for a moment, the noise of the cafe faded into the background. The world felt smaller, more intimate, with just the two of them. I don't want to pull away from you, but I don't want to hurt you either. You won't, Eli replied firmly. We'll figure this out. Together. The weeks that followed were a delicate dance, learning to trust, to lean into the uncertainty, to be with each other without expectations. Eli had his own fears. Would this connection last? Would it survive the challenges that came with being so vulnerable? But with every moment they shared, the fear seemed to dissipate, and in its place, there was a growing sense of peace. One evening, as they watched a movie in Noah's apartment, Eli turned to Noah, his eyes searching Noah's face as if seeing him for the first time. He felt an overwhelming urge to say what had been on his mind for weeks. I think I'm falling for you, Noah, Eli said, his voice barely a whisper. Noah's expression softened, his eyes locking onto Eli's with a tenderness that made Eli's heart race. I've been falling for you too. Eli felt like his chest was going to explode. The relief, the joy, the sheer weight of the emotions he had kept hidden for so long, he couldn't hold them back anymore. Noah leaned in, brushing his lips lightly against Eli's. The kiss was soft, a question, a promise, a release all at once. And when they pulled away, the world outside didn't matter anymore. They were here, together, and nothing else seemed as important. The air was crisp with the promise of autumn as Eli and Noah sat on the steps of a quiet park bench, nestled in their usual spot by the lake. They had been here many times, but today felt different. There was a certain weight in the air, as though the ground beneath them was shifting, pulling them in different directions, yet keeping them together. Eli leaned back on the bench, his head tilted back to watch the clouds lazily pass by. Noah was next to him, his fingers brushing against Eli's in an absent gesture of affection. Neither said much at first. The comfortable silence between them had become something they both cherished in their still-growing connection. But the stillness didn't last long. Noah, who had been unusually quiet the last few days, finally spoke up. Eli, there's something I've been meaning to tell you. Eli turned to look at him, his heart rate picking up slightly. What's on your mind? Noah's eyes were serious now, and Eli noticed the subtle tension in his shoulders. I've been offered a job in another city. A really good opportunity. It's the kind of chance I've been waiting for, but it's far from here. Eli's chest tightened. He had known this day might come, but hearing it out loud made it feel real, and for some reason, the thought of Noah leaving struck deeper than he anticipated. That's amazing, Noah. You should take it. Noah's gaze dropped to the ground, and he exhaled slowly. Yeah, but I don't know if I want to go. Not now, not with everything we've started. The admission caught Eli off guard. You're saying, you're considering staying? Noah nodded, his eyes meeting Eli's. I don't want to lose this. I don't want to lose you. Eli's breath caught in his throat, his mind racing with the possibilities. What would it mean for them if Noah stayed? What would it mean for him if Noah left? There was a flood of conflicting emotions swirling in his chest, and for a moment, he felt utterly lost. Then, what are we supposed to do? Eli asked softly, his voice tinged with vulnerability. I can't ask you to give up something that could change your life. But I don't want to lose you either. Noah reached out, taking Eli's hand in his with a tenderness that made Eli's heart flutter. I don't want to lose you either. I'm just scared. I'm scared of making the wrong decision. Eli looked down at their hands, feeling the warmth of Noah's touch. For a brief moment, he considered the distance between them, the physical distance, yes, but also the emotional one. Could they make this work? Could they navigate the challenges that came with the uncertainty of the future? I think we can make it work, Eli said slowly, his voice steady but full of hope. But we have to be honest with each other. No matter what happens, no matter where we end up, we can't let the fear of change pull us apart. Noah's eyes softened as he squeezed Eli's hand. I want that too. The next few days were filled with deep reflection and conversations about the future. They talked about what their relationship would look like, both with the possibility of Noah moving away and with the reality of staying in the same city. They discussed the challenges, the logistics, and their own hopes and fears. It wasn't easy, and there were moments of uncertainty, but through it all, they remained committed to exploring their connection, no matter where it took them. The hardest part, though, was when Noah's job offer came with a firm deadline. A decision had to be made. As the day approached, the reality of their situation weighed heavily on both of them. Eli found himself questioning whether their love, or whatever this thing between them was, could survive the distance. The evening before Noah was supposed to make his decision, they sat in Eli's apartment, their bodies close but the tension between them palpable. Eli tried to keep the conversation light, but there was an undercurrent of something much deeper. Noah stood up and walked toward the window, staring out into the city. "I don't know what to do, Eli. I want to be with you, but this job, it's everything I've worked for. I've been dreaming of this for years." Eli followed him, standing just behind him. He rested a hand on Noah's shoulder, his voice a whisper in the still air. "You don't have to choose between your dream and me. I want you to follow your heart. We'll figure it out, no matter what." Noah turned to face him, his expression torn. "But what if following my dream means leaving you behind?" Eli smiled softly, brushing a lock of hair from Noah's forehead. "We're stronger than that. We've already overcome so much. Distance isn't the end. We'll find a way." Noah's eyes searched Eli's, looking for something, some reassurance that everything would be okay. And in that moment, Eli realized that what they had wasn't about proximity, it was about trust. It was about believing that they could weather any storm, even if that meant being miles apart. "I want to try," Noah said, his voice steady now. "I want to be with you, Eli. But I also want to chase my dream. Can we make it work, even if I'm not here all the time?" Eli nodded, his heart swelling. "We can. We will." The next morning, Noah made his decision. He would take the job, but he would stay committed to making their relationship work, even if that meant balancing long-distance moments with the time they could share together. He didn't know what the future held, but for the first time, he felt like he was ready to face whatever came next, with Eli by his side. And for Eli, as the days passed, he realized that love wasn't just about being physically present. It was about trusting in the other person, believing in the connection, and knowing that no matter where life took them, they were still tethered by something real. The city was bustling with energy, but inside the small cafe where Eli and Noah often met, the world outside seemed to fade away. It had been a few weeks since Noah had made his decision, and though they had embraced the uncertainty, there was still a sense of distance that neither could fully shake off. Eli had been adjusting to the long-distance aspect of their relationship. It wasn't easy, there were late-night calls, messages exchanged throughout the day, and moments of longing when they couldn't be together. But despite the distance, their connection remained strong. They had learned to cherish the time they spent together, even if it was brief. Today was one of those rare moments when they were finally in the same place, sharing the same space. They had both carved out time from their busy schedules to meet in their favorite cafe. It felt like a moment of peace amidst the chaos of their lives, a space where they could just exist without the pressure of the world around them. Noah sat across from Eli, his eyes warm as he watched him stir his coffee absent-mindedly. There was a quiet understanding between them now, one that hadn't existed before. They didn't need to speak about it, they knew what this was. Eli met his gaze and smiled softly. "It's strange, you know. How much I've gotten used to this. The waiting, the missing you, the moments when we can't be together." Noah's expression softened, and he reached out across the table, his fingers grazing Eli's. "Yeah, but it's also made me realize how much I value the time we do have together. I don't think I ever really appreciated it until we were apart." Eli nodded. "I get that. It's hard sometimes. But we're making it work. We're doing this, whatever this is." Noah chuckled, the sound rich and full. I think I know what this is, Eli. I know what I want. Eli raised an eyebrow, intrigued. Oh. And what's that? Noah leaned in closer, his voice lowering to a soft whisper, just for them. I want us. I want this. I want you. Eli's breath hitched in his chest, his heart racing at the rawness of Noah's words. He had heard them before, but something about the sincerity in Noah's tone made his feelings surge forward with more intensity. You mean, you want us, despite everything? Yeah, Noah said firmly, his gaze unwavering. I want to make this work, even if it's hard, even if it's not always easy. I'm not going to back away from this. From you. Eli's chest tightened as the weight of those words settled in. It was what he'd wanted to hear for so long, something that confirmed what he had been feeling all along, something that gave him the courage to stop second-guessing everything. I want you too, Eli said softly, his hand moving to intertwine with Noah's. I'm scared sometimes, but I don't want to let that stop me. They sat there, in that quiet corner of the cafe, their fingers tangled together as if that simple touch could anchor them in this moment. The uncertainty that had loomed over their relationship began to dissipate, and in its place, there was clarity. The weeks that followed were marked by a renewed sense of purpose in their relationship. Eli and Noah spoke often, even when they were far apart. They made plans to visit each other, to explore new cities, to make the most of their time together. The distance, once an obstacle, began to feel more like a challenge they were both willing to face. Noah continued with his job in the new city, but he visited Eli whenever he could. And Eli had started to think about the future in a way he hadn't before. He realized that his own dreams, the ones he had kept locked away for fear of failure, didn't have to be postponed. He could go after them, too. With Noah by his side, or even from a distance, he could pursue what he wanted in life. It was a mutual decision they made together. They would support each other's goals, no matter where those goals led them. They would chase their dreams, but they would never leave each other behind. One evening, after one of Noah's visits, they found themselves on the rooftop of Eli's apartment building. The stars were out, and the city lights twinkled below them like a blanket of possibility. The silence between them was comfortable, filled with the promise of things yet to come. Eli leaned against the railing, his eyes drifting to the skyline. You know, for the longest time, I thought I had to have it all figured out. I thought I needed to have everything in place before I could even think about a relationship. But I think I was wrong. Noah joined him at the railing, his shoulder brushing against Eli's. What do you mean? I mean, Eli said, looking over at him, that life isn't perfect. It's messy, and we can't control everything. But with you, I feel like I'm okay with that. I'm okay with the uncertainty. Because no matter what happens, we have this. Noah smiled, his hand reaching for Eli's. Yeah. We have this. Eli felt his heart swell with affection. They had made it this far, and somehow, it felt like they could go further. The future, still unknown, now seemed like something they could face together. They weren't just holding on to each other, they were building something new, something stronger, something that would endure. The months passed, and with each passing day, Eli and Noah's bond grew. The distance between them was still there, but it was no longer a barrier. They found ways to be together, to support each other, and to chase their individual dreams while nurturing their relationship. They both learned that love wasn't about being in the same place physically, it was about being present for each other, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. It was about choosing to stay, to fight for what mattered, even when the road ahead seemed uncertain. And as they stood there on that rooftop, watching the world below, Eli knew one thing for sure: no matter where life took them, they would always find their way back to each other. The sun was setting as Eli and Noah sat at their favorite cafe once again, the same one where everything had begun. The golden light streamed through the windows, casting a warm glow over the room, making it feel like the world outside had slowed just for them. It had been months since Noah had made the difficult decision to take the job in another city, and though the distance had been challenging, their bond had only grown stronger. Noah had visited more frequently now, his job allowing for flexible travel, and Eli had started taking on more projects of his own, diving into opportunities that pushed him to grow. But no matter where life took them, they made a point to reconnect, to remind themselves that what they had was worth every bit of effort they put in. Today felt like an important day. It wasn't just about the coffee or the familiar comfort of their shared silence. No, today was about something bigger. It was about finally acknowledging the depth of what they had built together. Eli stirred his coffee slowly, the rhythmic motion comforting in its simplicity. He looked across the table at Noah, who was gazing at him with that same soft intensity that had made Eli's heart flutter the first time they met. For a moment, Eli felt like time had folded back on itself, bringing them to this perfect place. Noah broke the silence, his voice soft but steady. "Eli, I've been thinking a lot about us. About how far we've come." Eli met his gaze, his heart swelling with affection. "Yeah, me too. It hasn't been easy. But I wouldn't change a thing." Noah smiled, and for a moment, there was a quiet that hung between them, a shared understanding of what their love had meant. "I think we've proven something to ourselves, Eli. That we're stronger than we thought. We can handle the distance, the uncertainty. And through it all, we've learned how to be there for each other." Eli nodded, his chest tightening with emotion. "I didn't think it would work at first. I was scared, and I thought that the distance would pull us apart. But I was wrong. We made it work, and I think that says everything about us." There was a long pause, filled only with the sound of coffee cups clinking and the hum of conversation around them. The world seemed so far away, as if only the two of them existed in this small bubble of time. Eli had always feared that his own insecurities would keep him from ever truly allowing someone else to get close, but with Noah, he had found someone who accepted him, loved him, and, most importantly, was willing to fight for them. Noah leaned forward, his voice gentle. "I don't want to just make it work. I want this. I want you, Eli, for all the good and the hard times." Eli's breath hitched as he realized what Noah was saying, what he was asking. His heart raced, uncertainty and excitement mixing in his chest. "You mean, you want to do this? For real?" Noah smiled, a soft, knowing smile that reached all the way to his eyes. "Yeah. I want us. I want to make a future with you, no matter where we end up, no matter what comes our way." Tears pricked at the corners of Eli's eyes as he realized the truth in Noah's words. The journey they had been on wasn't just about overcoming obstacles, it was about choosing each other, every single day, in big and small ways. The fear of the unknown still lingered, but it was no longer an anchor, it was a challenge they were willing to face together. Eli reached across the table, his fingers brushing Noah's. "I want that too. I want you, Noah. I'm ready to face whatever comes next with you by my side." And with that, the uncertainty that had once defined their relationship began to fade, replaced by a quiet certainty. They didn't have all the answers, life still held its mysteries, its twists and turns. But in this moment, they didn't need to know the future. What mattered was that they were here, together, ready to face whatever came. The waiter came by, bringing their check, and they both smiled, the small act of everyday life grounding them once more. As Noah paid for their coffee, Eli looked out the window at the world outside, but he no longer felt lost in it. For the first time in a long while, everything felt clear. Their relationship was a journey, one that was far from perfect, but it was theirs. They would continue to chase their dreams, explore new cities, new possibilities, and new moments together. The distance that had once seemed so insurmountable now felt like a small part of the story they were writing. As they left the cafe and walked into the crisp evening air, hand in hand, Eli realized that the true beauty of their relationship was not just in the moments when they were together, but in how they had learned to love through the distance, the uncertainty, and the changes. Together, they had found their way back to each other. And this was just the beginning. The end.